Hi, I'm Susan. I'm from Worldpeacefull, and I'm going to read you out some of my philosophy to explore the world of silence. Now, in this modern age, would be when people are asked a question, possibly via email. They could even be face to face, but typically it's through electronic means, and they refuse to answer, or they ignore it, or they put it to the side and forget about it. I think there's a lot of silent treatment happening in society, a lot. What I found from my own research into this subject matter was that men tended to have a predisposition to remaining silent, and in fact, in relationships, it was a form of game playing out in which it was to create frustration in the other. Now, there's always two sides to every situation, and I guess if we're very honest, there's dynamics taking place, and the understanding of which could possibly change those dynamics. I come from a philosophical and lived experience of open communication. I'm naturally a very open person. I'm not afraid to reveal myself. Some people feel very embarrassed at revelations about who they really are because they've lived so long in a particular role, or they believe that it's an invasion of privacy. Certain generations would see it as inappropriate to reveal oneself. My perspective is probably more universal in the sense that there's been so much hidden for so long that I actually believe the opposite is better, is to be much more visible. And I think if everybody was visible, we could grow and learn a lot more from each other. We'd find out the very things that we've believed can be challenged, because silence prevents people from challenging your belief system. I think that we would all grow from a healthy discussion. If you're not sensitive to critique in the sense that you don't take it personally, I know in my case, I don't take it personally. I will take on board if I think it's true. And my goal, in a sense, is really self-development so that other might be right. I always leave a space for them being right, just so that I don't become, too bent on the idea that I'm always right. I'm not. I make mistakes, as we all do, because none of us have perfect knowledge. This is not a perfect market situation where we have access to all information. When information is withheld, it can cause all sorts of psychological issues for others. And if anything, it formulates attachments, wittingly or unwittingly. That's what happens, because a person might ruminate, go over the issue in their mind, drive themselves crazy, trying to figure it out, not understanding what they've done wrong. Most people are insecure, so you'll find that there will be some inner reflection and fear around silence. Democracy is supposed to be the opposite, which is everybody has a right to air their views. Everyone has a right to be heard. The idea of democracy is really respecting diversity and differences of opinion. It's about speaking up. It's not about remaining silent. Although everybody has the right, of course, to not reveal everything, and I respect that. There are some things that are personal that are best kept that way. But if a person is approaching you with a real honest request for disclosure, because that may help assist that person, help them in some way to move on or to resolve a matter, then wouldn't compassion lead you to that door? So it's something to consider. I'll read you the philosophy I wrote when I was, really confronted by silent treatment. And at the time, I really didn't know what it was, because I'd never really been treated in this way before. But I'm becoming more aware of it now and more at peace with it now, which is terrific. I've been stonewalled by the best of them. It hasn't shut me up, of course, but anyway, you won't. It's my nature to communicate. Anyway, with a little bit of humour, let's look at this. It's called silent or civil treatment. Is justice truth? Is justice to be right? Is justice power? Is power truthful justice or forced compliance? If I'm confused and hurting, do I have the right to ask why? To receive an honest reply? Or will tactics be used to silence me? Am I free to stand up and speak out in democracy? Or will people vilify to hurt rather than hear me? What is innocence? Is it to be without malice? Is it to be without blame? Is it to burn the candle of real hopes as an eternal flame? For responsibility, empathy, awareness, love, honesty, oneness, peace, enjoyment, and service is where value serves as fairness over and above oneself. To work for the greater good is the real wealth. For responsibility is the ability to respond. Empathy is to stand in your shoes in compassion. Awareness is to observe on balance, not judge. Love is unconditional no matter the outcome. Honesty speaks the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help me God. For we are one family, one community, one nation, one world. And what we do to others returns to the self. Peace is to balance what is dark, negative, with light. To enjoy life is the gift whilst I'm still alive. For every light is a candle lit in service to humanity, and this is the only sanity that sees unity as progress. Only intent matters in psychological case management rather than managing a case. If intention is truth, the scales balance for a win-win. If intention is to win, imbalance distorts truth. And this is when innocent people get hurt, as others have nothing to say in truth nor wisdom. Is freedom of speech the right to be justly heard or answered, or both? What is real freedom? Speech? If not fairly answered, does this mean I'm not heard? If all people are born equal, is truth hearing impartially, opening to flower the balance of probabilities for all? If disbelieved, am I innocent, suspect, or guilty? How does one reconcile differences in due diligence if isolated without representation or respect? Truthfulness is my only refuge in seeking peace. Love is the true purity of security in doing no harm. Inclusivity informs all without prejudice in goodwill. I ask, control or equal opportunity open to diversity? For to lie is the highest disrespect, masking insecurity. I cannot remain silent if I feel something is not right. I don't wish to fight, but do you agree he has the right to look at my legs in class inspiring attraction, to kiss me and hold my hand aware of affection, to ring me at home under false pretenses, to stare or walk past me giving aware of growing distress? Is refusing to take responsibility a herd mentality? For I say no to intolerable psychological injury. I must understand the truth to resolve emotionally. For in my heart I am crying for fair resolution. For in my heart I am yearning for fair reconciliation. For I wish no ill will, only a fair settlement. For the justice of the peace rebalances the civility of democracy. And this is the core of what I'm living for. So that poem was really reflective of sexual harassment issue, where it was very subtle, where I had feelings for the person who actually sexually harassed me. I know it sounds funny, doesn't it? But I didn't know the behaviour was actually of a different intent. I thought it was misunderstanding, and that's where my confusion came from. But what I found in my experience was that everybody essentially said talk to the hand. You know, nobody was forthright in engaging me in communication. So when I stated my side, the other side ignored me completely. I was also demonized as well, which was very interesting. It raised many, many questions within me, and I saw the silent treatment, if you like, as a form of abuse. I realized that people remain silent not because they've got nothing to say, but because they're hiding. They're refusing to acknowledge something, and that's where issues of denial come up. And denial, our minds are very clever. You know, we can dodge around things. And I actually have a lot of experience in this matter of psychological dodging, in the sense that I grew up with what I would call a teacher in that area, whom forced me to be very honest. This person was very, very good at dodging the truth, actually. And I found it very hard to understand, because I thought, well, surely we can just talk straight about this subject and resolve it. But I realized from the experiences that I had was the dodging was a form of dishonesty. The person couldn't actually face the truth around a matter. And this is kind of how denial works. Again, that idea of soothing is really important. People will use justifications to soothe themselves so that they can continue in behaviors that are unhealthy. And they do this because it's too painful to really face something. It's very uncomfortable to really face something where you've actually been a problem for that other person. And what ends up happening is the conflict. It actually worsens the conflict, it accelerates it, exacerbates it, and we end up with a much more intractable conflict situation because of the denial that's going on. So silence is a very effective way in many respects of warning people off. It's a way of saying, I don't want to engage in this. And of course, there's also the other side of how far, you go in respect of requesting that communication as well. And what line do you cross if that's causing another distress? It's very much, I guess I'd come back to intent. Certainly in this philosophy, I talked about intent. The intent's very, very important if we're working out whether someone is engaging in a harmful behaviour or not. So it's something to consider next time you're in a difficult situation and you're feeling you don't want to answer. Is there a way of answering without compromising truth? There's always a balance, I think, in everything. I probably err on the side of probably too much disclosure, but that's actually my nature. I'm very open. I always have been. Don't know why I'm like this. I'm just not afraid of disclosing myself. Maybe I just see myself as everybody else. I don't think myself that special. So who knows, maybe this is the vanguard that opens the door for others who have either been stonewalled or kept in the silence by someone else. And all I would say is engage in creativity and find your own truth. If you believe in freedoms like I do, it's very difficult to even consider forcing anyone to answer, really, as much as you'd like them to. I don't actually agree with the force side of it. I think everyone has to come to their truth in their own way. And even if there's a negative intent behind it, I'm a great believer in natural justice. So I'm quite certain that something will unfold in that other's life that will keep confronting them with the same problem that they can either run away from or they can face. All I can say is that it's a lot quicker if you face it. And things are never as bad as what you imagine. There's actually, I think, something waiting for you in the disclosure of who you are. I think you can never fail if you do something from a good intent. Always there is gold at the end of that rainbow. You've been in the rain shadow for a long time. but that rainbow has formed, and I definitely see the gold at the end. So with that, I send you much love and peace, always, whether you're someone who has been stonewalling or someone who's been on the other end of it. I send everybody peace and love, and may we somehow find a real resolution and reconciliation. Have fun. Bye.